But the fact that we still, are letting so many people in the store is a problem in and of itself.
Uh-huh.
However, they're paying us extra $100 a week
That's pretty good.
full time. Yeah, and OT is double pay instead of just being regular time and a half. So, yeah,
Whoa.
guess that's nice. They're
Yeah.
still putting our health in jeopardy by letting so many people in the store.
Yeah. Um, a lot of stores here have started limiting who can come in and like what am I trying to say? Not who can come in, but setting up times or
How
limiting
many?
how many. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you for finding words that are right there, and I just can't find them. And they've also started, I know a lot of stores all over the country have started doing this too, where they set up times specifically for seniors or otherwise vulnerable populations to come in.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
especially the little old people because they can't really fend for themselves, so they kind of need it. Yeah, it is something. All this weirdness. I watch at least two press conferences a day, so that's fun.
I'm surprised that you're able to keep up with the news. I know so many people that are just like, I just stopped watching and listening and reading. I read like half of a story, but all the stories coming out about it are so long. And I'm like, I do not have enough time slash energy for this.
I know that's right. I try to not watch too much when I'm working, like on the days I work, because I'm usually too tired to bother. So I may watch a little bit of news at night for like 30 minutes or whatever, and then I'm off doing getting myself ready. Um, but when on my days off, I just like throw it on in the background. I still go about my day doing whatever, but it's something in the background. I'll listen to President Trump, the first part of his press conference, whatever's like the prepared part where you can see he's reading off the paper. That's what I listen to because after that he starts going off onto the tangents, and I'm out. I check out after that. So completely changed, completely changed the channel at that point. I only have enough bandwidth to listen to the first part of what's happening.
Mm-hmm. So wait, when do you guys move?
June.
That feels so close.
Oh, it's right around the corner. It's basically 2 months from now,
All right.
more or less. We'll start because I have to go up there and get stuff moved around, make room for us.
So you are moving into an apartment or you're moving into one of you guys' family's houses?
Yes. Option two.
Okay. Um, okay.
Well, really, it's going to be both because we're only going to live in that house for so long.
Yeah. So then you don't have to worry about at least trying to find an apartment in the middle of all the coronavirus stuff.
Yeah,
You just
because
have to
it's
worry about
not. Yeah.
yeah. You don't
Heck,
you just have to worry about movers.
yeah, we're not. Well, we can't even get. We're not even going to get movers because
Okay.
no one has even like sent a quote to us.
Oh.
And I've reached out. Those like aggregate sites where you put your information in and like they just like people can just send you quotes. Zero quotes.
What? When did you send that out?
Oh, it was like 3 weeks ago. Nothing, because
Jeez.
most places are probably shutting down or just
Yeah.
like postponing business because no one's trying to be doing that right now. So
That's wild.
got one. I think I've gotten no quotes from that website. One quote from another one I just came across, and I'm like, if that's the quote, we're not gonna get movers.
Yeah.
But also, we're not moving everything into that house. We're only moving enough, basically, for like a room and a half worth of stuff. So then everything else has to go to storage. So yeah. So we have to get a very large storage unit.
Yeah.
A lot of
Ugh.
stuff is gonna be there. But then it's like we'll be moving again at some point, probably in January. So
January.
yes,
Her residency's only for what, 6 months?
we're just not gonna be staying in that house the whole time.
Okay. That makes more sense.
My
Okay.
nerves are not good enough for that situation.
Yeah, I honestly don't think that I could stay at my. Well, I did, but I really needed wine when I did.
Yeah, we're gonna see how this goes because I'm not that optimistic that this is gonna be a situation that's gonna last very long. We're slated to do 6 months, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe more like 3 months, and it's like, okay, time to get the hell out of here. You never really know, to be honest.
No.
Oh boy, you know how little I like to share my space. Do you know? It's gonna be a fun time.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, I just need half a room. You can have the rest of the room. Give me half a room and I'll be fine.
Yeah. And I'm more like, I want everything in the kitchen where I expect it to be when I expect to be there.
Well,
Everything
okay,
exactly right.
you
Because if
say
it's
that.
not, I'm gonna be cranky. Honestly, the worst part is going to be not having complete control over the kitchen. Like that is going to be the only thing that probably makes me crazy because I don't really. The silverware should be in the drawer I think it should be in, and when it's not in that drawer, it's like, okay, who organized this kitchen and why? But it won't be my kitchen, so I really can't complain per se. But if half of the kitchen gets rearranged by some happenstance, it's not my fault. I'm gonna say it's the kitchen gnomes that came and did it. And can't possibly be my fault at all. Can't be my fault.
No way. You are either going to lose your mind or completely reinvent that kitchen so that it works so much better. And I have no
My
idea how it works now, so maybe it works just fine now, but you're going to change it or
oh
you're
oh
going to lose your mind.
oh it absolutely works fine for the people who are living there because they've been living there. But they don't know any better. It's not it's not their fault. They just don't know any better. I have to fix it. I'm gonna have to fix it so hard. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna get yelled
Oh,
at least a couple times, and then I'll just stop. But yeah,
you're a nut. Um, Hopefully I'll get a lot more done since I literally don't go anywhere right now. I think I've left the house 4 times in 2 weeks.
that's impressive.
I'm
That
losing my mind. Besides walks, like I'll go for a walk and like those vary by length, but as far as just like going places, which for me, which I normally have at least one thing scheduled every single night, to have zero.
it's about time. You need this because it'll show you that you can actually function without having every second of every day completely and utterly filled with stuff.
I know, but I still feel bad because I have to tell people no. And so I still have people asking me to come hang out, and I'm like, do you not see what's going on? No, we
They know
can't.
better. They know better. That's their fault. They don't. They know better. Damn it.
But how do I tell them no?
You just said it right there. No. I don't know where you've been when you're not with me. I ain't going to hang out with you. You could be transmitting COVID out here.
I just feel so guilty. But
Yeah. The only thing I miss really is going to the movies because that's like the one thing that I would just do just on any given day or out of boredom. I'm like, I just go watch something. Not being able to go to the movies has been kind of annoying. Not really my most favorite thing to have to do, but they are sending a lot of things to rent a lot faster than they would have before, or just letting you rent them or buy them, which is cool. I gotta watch Onward tonight because it's just on Disney Plus now. So supposedly it's good, and I was going to go see it. It was actually the next movie I was going to see, and then they shut all the theaters down. I was like, oh, okay, well, won't be seeing that now.
yeah, which is pretty cool because it's like set up. Most of them, the ones that I've seen, have been set up to where it's like the cost that it would be for 2 to 3 people to go watch the movie in theaters anyway. But if you
Exactly.
have a house with like 6 or 7 people, then you get to watch that movie that was just released yesterday for the price of 3 people or 2.
Or 2 people, yeah. Like when some of them are like, oh, you can rent it a day up for 20, or buy it for 20 or 5 or whatever. But like that is a steal. You know how much money I spent on just concessions plus the tickets? That's nothing. This is completely fine. Let alone if I go to Alamo Draft House or something. Oh man, the bills when we come out of there. Oh, geez. Mm. Good food though, but it hurts.
I know I said this before, but I'm gonna say it again. I wish they had an Alamo Draft House up here. Like, that's a new thing in my experience, is going to an Alamo Draft House in like the last 3 or 4 years. Not that. 5 or 6 years. But it's so fun. It's a
You
good
just
movie watching experience.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the only slight downside is they come and get the checks right around the 30 minutes to go mark. And so then you kind of know when the movie's over, which kind of breaks the the environment a little bit. But I understand they can't wait till the thing's already over to start coming passing out checks and stuff. That'd be ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
In other news, I have not been watching, like, I keep seeing, like, related to watching things. I have not been watching a bunch of stuff. I keep seeing a bunch of people that are like, oh, I've been binging this. Oh, does anybody have Disney Plus because they really want to watch Frozen 2? Oh, we just watched this. And I'm like, I've seen like 2 movies, which is like one more than I normally would have watched in that time period.
Hmm.
And then Ella watches a lot of TV, so much TV. So I just end up kind of seeing whatever she's watching, but I'm not like sitting down and watching with her. I like am walking around doing other stuff like doing dishes or editing a podcast or trying to do social media stuff or any other number of things. And so I'm like, oh, I have time to like sit down and do something in a place that feels productive, to sit down and do something. And I feel like I've gotten so much more done. I've played the ukulele like
Oh wow,
4 times this past 2 weeks.
that's
And
a
I
lot.
made sourdough bread 3 times. Just like the bread. I made stuff with the discard too. And my sourdough bread starter is growing so much because it's in a better spot now. It's not in the refrigerator and it's in like a warm kitchen. Because my kitchen is so cold all the time. So I keep seeing people that are like, oh, I'm getting into sourdough starter or getting into sourdough bread. I'm like, I've had my starter since December and I just started using it. But I feel like I'm the true person who's like, no, I already have my starter. I didn't buy starter just because we were in quarantine. I just suddenly had time to use the starter I've had all along.
Yeah, it's a little bit of forced time on your hands there. You could have started, forever ago, December, but someone's so busy all the time. I don't understand.
Okay, the other thing though is people all of a sudden stop shaking your head at me, turning your head back, laughing at me. Cut it out. The other thing though is that people started posting videos that I didn't have to go look for them because I'm just too darn lazy / don't have time to like go understand what I'm doing. And so I just wasn't putting in the time to understand it. So I'd like read something and it wouldn't make any sense. And I was like, I don't know what I'm trying to do. And so I would try to start. I tried to start like 4 or 5 times. And every time I did, I would get stuck by something that was like, oh, you need to do this weird test. And if it doesn't work, then you have to feed it and let it go again for another 8 hours. And I was like, I don't have time for this. This is ridiculous. So then I watched somebody else do it. And I was like, this is exactly like making bread that I've already made. You just use starter instead of yeast. And you don't have to let it don't have to let the yeast activate. You just put it in there, mix it up, let it rise, mix it up again, let it rise again, flip it, score it, put it in the oven. 30 minutes later, you got bread. I was like, what? Why has this been so difficult for 4 months?
Sometimes a video of doing it is just all you need.
Apparently, I should have looked for videos a long time ago. Kept reading blog posts that were 1,000,000 hours long.
As if YouTube doesn't exist.
I know. It was right there. That resource was right there the whole time. And I didn't use it.
Kind of sounds like me when it comes to, editing or anything else. Like, oh, there's a thing I could go just watch on how to do this versus just hunt and peck through these menus and hopefully something pops up that I understand. It's terrible. It's a damn shame.
Yeah, I told somebody today, they were like, I spent 2 hours on Excel trying to figure out how to make this work. And I said, do not punish yourself by struggling through Excel. Go freaking watch a YouTube video. Because I spent so much time just aching over Excel, not doing what I wanted it to do before I finally looked up a YouTube video and it went by in like 30 seconds. I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? I spent like 20 minutes trying to figure that out.
Nope. You know what I do if I have Excel problems? I ask my wife. Here, fix this for me.
Well, if you don't have a live-in Excel expert,
fair enough.
YouTube is the way to go.
Oh my goodness. Oh, but yeah. Speaking of binging things, I watched the entire series of Tiger King the other night on Netflix. We seriously watched the entire thing in one sitting. It's crazy. I normally never do anything like that, but also the episodes were only like 40 minutes or so. So 40 minutes feels much less than an hour to me. Like it's not really that much of a difference in time. But like a lot of episodes would be like 55 minutes or 58 minutes on some of the longer series. I'm like, that's too much. I don't feel like watching that. Tiger King, I was just like going through because it would end if for the next episode before my attention span had run out. So I just keep going. So many episodes. It was 7, and we just watched the whole thing. It is ridiculous. I don't understand people, but that's
Okay. First off, you got the biggest eye roll. Second off, why? Why did you watch this?
because it was recommended to me. And then I watched the first episode, and then I watched the second episode, and I was like, third episode. Like usually I don't just fall into like the easily like go kind of thing, but I was like, nah, just keep going. It's fine. I have to be at work till 2 tomorrow anyway. Who cares? It's terrible. I would
3
sleep at like
times. 3 people have to recommend a show before it gets added to the list.
oh, I was way past 3. It was like 8. It was so many people were recommending it. I was like, okay, let me give it a shot.
I have
But
not had anyone directly recommend it to me, so I assumed you were probably close to the same.
no, a lot of people. It's just it's such a weird like the people who are the stars in the show are so kind of annoying, but kind of compelling in a weird way is so strange. But I watched it all, so I would tell people to watch it. It's not that it's not that hard of a watch, not that long. So yeah, it's great. People and giant cats or exotic animals don't really make any sense to me, but their story. So she just put sun into my retinas. I swear. And now she's just laughing at me.
When I'm done laughing, I will rejoin the conversation.
What am I supposed to do? She just laughing. Tries to blind me as if I don't need my eyes for things. I swear. What are you in witness protection checking out the window? What's going on over there?
I just want to see outside.
Outside does not exist anymore. Inside only. You know what? I'm glad you have to edit the quick chats because this is a foolishness.
The dog is coming toward me.
Yep. Just want some attention. That's all. You're trying to see if you were dying, I think.
Probably. So you're getting paid a lot more. Customers are not slowing down. What else has changed?
Well, there's so much. So now we're starting to um, limit the number of customers, still at 150, which is too many in my opinion, but that's what we're going to do. But that what that does is increase the amount of stuff I have to do every day because the supervisors have to be walking around making sure people are actually social distancing, manning the doors, counting the people, being more involved with day to day instead of doing all the things I need to do besides this. So that's super exciting. That's so annoying, but it's fine.
Gross. Not fun. But do you have like extra time on your hands now, or does everything else feel the same?
I'm too tired most of the time to even bother doing other stuff because our hours of like when I'm actually at the store has not changed. We're closing earlier, but I still have to work. If I'm scheduled till 10, I still work till 10. So it's not like I just have all the extra like free time really. It's really the same, except I have to sanitize a lot more stuff. So that's really the only difference.
Yeah. The I'm still working from home, so I'm still working for 8 hours, but I've been able to start my days earlier. Not that I couldn't before, but it's so much easier to just like roll out of bed and then somebody else is already starting work. And I'm like, oh, there's my motivation. Let me get going and get started for work too. And so then I'm like already working by 7:30, some days 7, some days it's 8, but I'm starting earlier and then I'm done and then I don't have to go anywhere after. So then that time's suddenly back, but then I'm also like babysitting. Like as soon as the parentals leave, then I'm the de facto adult in charge.
Oh boy. De facto adult. That's not good for anybody.
Yeah, I would not argue with that statement. Yeah. Anything I don't know what else to say right now. I feel a little overwhelmed by just like all of this because just everything is changing all the time, but it also doesn't feel like everything is changing in my world all the time. It's like everything changed once. Now figure it out day by day. And it's like the change is done for me and the change is affecting everybody else.
Yeah. And so for me, that's part of the reason I watch the news to actually see what's happening in other areas because it's kind of hard to get outside of your bubble when you're so concerned about, being a supervisor just by itself is enough stuff to just like make me crazy. So that I'm like, I don't really want to think about anything else. But it was hard at first to kind of know, well, at first, as in January, how seriously to take this. And then when it started spreading so fast, like, oh no, this is clearly a situation. So you kind of need to pay attention. And people walking around just like as if everything is all hunky dory normal. It's crazy to me. I mean, people are bringing their infant children into Home Depot because apparently they just have to leave the house to walk around Home Depot because we're open. Like that's the only reason people aren't even buying stuff. We have people that aren't buying anything. They're just in there with their babies and children and whole family, or and they're bringing the elderly mothers and like elderly fathers into the store. I'm just like, this is the worst environment for people to be here who don't need to be here. Like, it's frankly it's dangerous for people to be in there. People, you can get cut on things, stuff can fall on you. Like there's heavy machinery. There's a myriad of things that can actually go wrong in a Home Depot on a regular day. Not to mention when we have a pandemic. I don't understand how people could be so careless to bring so many people into the store with them. You know, bringing one person with you maybe kind of makes some sense, but you don't need to bring your whole family to go pick up paint or to pick up some screws or some lumber or whatever. It's bananas.
Yeah. Did you see that slash share that post that was going around that was like an open letter from Home Depot, Walmart, and etc. other employees?
No, I didn't see it. Mm-mm.
Okay. So it was basically that. And employees talking about like, don't come in here with your kids. Don't come in here with your whole family. This is not a place where you come to just hang out because you're putting us at risk. You're putting yourself at risk and you're putting everybody else in your community at risk. This is a place for emergencies. We are deemed essential because you need to get stuff from us. Don't come here if you don't need to come here, because we are tired and we are sore and we are working so hard and risking our lives to make sure you have what you need, not to make sure you have a place to go hang out.
True words cannot have been spoken. Like, I understand if like your hot water heater burst, cool. You need to come get, you need to get your pipes, you know, you have something fall off the side of your house. I get it. Come on, people. We're open for that. But if you don't, if you're not a contractor who needs to paint to make a living, because I understand those guys coming in, they have to make a living, because if they're not working, they're not getting paid, and then people starve. So I get it. Come in because you need to. Like, but if you're not a contractor, you shouldn't be buying paint. What are you here for? All the projects you've been putting off, that's your problem. You should have did them 2 years ago when you started. Like, don't come in here now causing everything to be, much worse than it needs to be. Like, and I'd be willing to bet a lot of us have been exposed to this virus. We just don't know it. Because there's no way to have so many people in the store all the time in a city that's has this many people in it, and no one have transmitted it to somebody. It's banana.
The whole thing is ridiculous. And I definitely unfollowed someone on Facebook because they were treating it so flippantly. And I was like, I cannot respond in love to this person and tell them they're being ridiculous. So I'm just going to unfollow them and not read any more of their posts because they're treating it like this is no big deal.
Yeah, might have been no big deal at the beginning when, just some other people across the world were getting sick. But I don't know how anyone could see how many people are getting sick and dying in America and think it's not a big deal. Like, I understand, people get, insulated, so they don't even pay attention to what's going on anywhere else. But once people in your home city start getting sick and start dying, that has to be a wake-up call. And really, it hasn't been, at least not for San Antonio. The mayor gets on TV every night and begs for people to stay home. Yet every time I go somewhere, there are so many people out all the time. If you need groceries, go. But everyone doesn't need groceries every single day. It's just so many things. Some of the whereas in Vermont, they're going to stop Target and Walmart from selling anything that's deemed non-essential. So if it's not groceries or toiletries stuff, they won't be allowed to sell it going forward, which is great. The only thing is, they did that to us, I don't know what they would do, because I don't really know how essential paint really is. But there are other things that are definitely essential. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand. But we're gonna be it'd be nice to be able to be a little more forceful with telling people to keep their distance from each other. That's going to be nice to at least have, management as backup on that, because we're having to, people, especially in my department, are very used to coming up to the desk and like leaning on it. And we're like, can you step behind the buckets? Like, actually telling people you need to step away from the desk because you're too close and you're not following any of the social distance, because the desk is only 2 feet across. So you need to be at least 3 feet behind that. Go away. So I don't know. There's so many things that, it's nice to not be part of the, amongst people who got laid off. It's very nice to actually know I have a job, but to have people be so flippant and so careless with other people's lives, my life, I think it's not great. But I can't just not work. It doesn't work that way. I can't just not go in. So it's tough.
Like, people act like there's nothing at stake. I keep seeing over and over again, and I think that everybody should practice this more. Don't behave like you're trying to prevent yourself from getting infected. Behave like you're already infected and you're trying to keep other people from getting infected. And I was like, yeah, if everybody acted like they were infected already, this would look a lot different. But a lot of people are acting like they're not infected, but it could show up 14 days later and you could be transmitting it for 14 days and have no idea. Okay. Well, I must stop recording. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It was good talking to you. Stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands. Don't go outside. You can go outside, but don't go to any businesses unless you absolutely have to.
Exactly.
All right. See ya.
All right. See you later.
The dog is yawning at me.
That's disrespectful. You're not that boring. That's disrespectful.